In the heart of Kenya, beneath the shadow of Mount Kenya's snowcaps, two rhinos graze side by side. Their names are Najin and Fatu, mother and daughter. They are the last two northern white rhinos on Earth. No others exist. Not in zoos, not in sanctuaries, not in the wild. The last male, Sudan, died in 2018. His final breath marked the moment the species became functionally extinct. Neither Najin nor Fatu can carry a calf. There is no way forward, at least not naturally. But across continents, in sterile labs and under the gaze of microscopes, a global team of scientists has done something no one thought possible. They've created 38 northern white rhino embryos, using eggs from Fatu and sperm from males long gone. Tiny, frozen, and full of hope. And now, those embryos are being prepared for the next step: implantation into a surrogate from a closely related species. If successful, it could lead to the birth of a calf that hasn't existed in the wild for decades. A calf that could learn, walk, and grow, alongside the only two who remember what it means to be northern white. The story of the northern white rhino didn't start with extinction. For millions of years, they thrived across Central Africa, from the grassy floodplains of Uganda to the swamps of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They were massive, gentle grazers, weighing over 2 tons, built for survival, with no natural predators except humans. In the 1970s, a wave of industrial-scale poaching swept across Africa. Rhino horn, falsely marketed as medicine and prized as a status symbol, became more valuable than gold. Armed groups hunted them mercilessly: helicopters, automatic rifles, poisoned waterholes. No tactic was off-limits. Civil wars fractured their native countries. Conservation zones became battlegrounds. Rangers fled. Protections collapsed. By 1980, northern white rhino numbers had dropped from thousands to just a few dozen. In 2008, the IUCN declared them extinct in the wild, but a handful remained in captivity, survivors of an emergency breeding effort in European zoos during the 1970s. Among them, Najin, born in 1989, and her daughter Fatu, born in 2000. For a moment, there was hope. Could these few remaining rhinos rebuild the species? But then came more bad news. Najin developed degenerative joint issues. Her hind legs couldn't safely support a pregnancy. Fatu's uterus, her only daughter, was found to have irreversible scarring. She too was infertile, and in 2018, the final blow. Sudan, the last known male, died of age-related complications at Ol Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya. He was 45. When his caretakers laid him down for the last time, the world mourned. Sudan was more than a rhino. He was the last male of his kind. Headlines declared the species gone, finished. Another name added to the long list of animals we've erased. But not everyone was ready to write that final chapter. At the Ol Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya, the last northern white rhinos live under constant watch. Armed rangers guard them day and night, not because they're dangerous, but because they're precious beyond measure. Najin is calm, cautious, and deeply bonded to her human caretakers. She was born in captivity, raised in zoos, and transported to Kenya in 2009 in a last-ditch effort to stimulate natural breeding. Her daughter Fatu is more curious, more independent. She's younger, stronger, and the scientific heart of the rescue mission. Both have played roles no wild rhino ever should. Ambassadors of their kind, symbols of loss, and now carriers of potential life. But the soul of this story was Sudan. Born in 1973 in what is now South Sudan, he was captured as a calf and spent most of his life in captivity. Despite his captivity, he became the face of his species, the world's last male northern white rhino. As he aged, his health declined. Arthritis, skin infections, joint pain. He was no longer able to mate. In his final days, his caretakers stayed close. They fed him by hand, they rubbed his ears, they whispered his name. And on March 19, 2018, when the pain became too much, Sudan was euthanized. He died surrounded by the people who had fought to protect him. The same people now fighting to bring his kind back. His death was reported around the world. Photos of rangers kneeling beside his body went viral. One image showed a ranger resting his head against Sudan's face, tears in his eyes. It was a goodbye, but it wasn't the end. Before Sudan passed, scientists had already collected and preserved his sperm. That single decision to freeze his genetic legacy may have saved his species. In the aftermath of Sudan's death, a question echoed around the world. Is extinction final? Or is it fixable? A group of scientists believed it wasn't too late. They called their effort BioRescue, an international consortium led by the Leibniz Institute for Zoo and Wildlife Research in Germany, in partnership with Safari Park Divur Kralove in Czechia, Avantea Lab in Italy, and wildlife authorities in Kenya. Their plan wasn't to preserve the species in museums, it was to bring it back. Using frozen sperm collected from deceased northern white males and immature egg cells extracted from Fatu, the last fertile female, they began developing embryos in a lab. But collecting eggs from a 2,000-kilogram rhino is no ordinary procedure. The team had to invent a custom device, 2 meters long, capable of navigating through Fatu's rectum and locating her ovaries. It was a mix of veterinary skill, engineering, and courage. Each retrieval had to be performed with speed and absolute precision, while Fatu was under heavy sedation. The extracted eggs were placed in chilled containers and flown across continents, from Kenya to the Avantea Reproduction Lab in Italy. There, using delicate instruments under a microscope, scientists injected the eggs with preserved sperm from Sudan and another male, Suni. If fertilization succeeded, the embryos were frozen in liquid nitrogen at -196 degrees Celsius, where their metabolic activity stops completely. They can remain preserved like this for decades. By 2025, the team had created 38 pure northern white rhino embryos, each one a genetically viable member of a species thought lost. Tiny, fragile, and frozen, but very much alive. For years, the BioRescue team worked toward a goal that had never been achieved: a successful rhino pregnancy using in vitro fertilization. Before risking a northern white embryo, they tested the process using embryos from southern white rhinos, a close cousin with thousands still in the wild. After 13 attempts, the impossible happened. In 2023, a southern white surrogate became pregnant through IVF. For the first time in history, a rhino fetus had been conceived entirely in a lab and was growing inside a surrogate mother. Scientists watched with cautious optimism. At 70 days, the fetus measured 6.5 centimeters, healthy, well-developed, and with a 95% chance of survival. But then disaster. The surrogate contracted a bacterial infection, Clostridia, commonly found in soil. Within days, she was gone. And so was the fetus. The team received the news while waiting at an airport, bags packed, ready to fly to Kenya and witness the world's first successful rhino IVF pregnancy. Instead, they sat stunned, grieving. As one photographer later wrote, "It wasn't just the end of a pregnancy, it was the loss of a miracle." But buried in that heartbreak was a revelation. The procedure had worked. The embryo had implanted. It had grown. This wasn't theory anymore. It was proof, scientific, biological, undeniable, that IVF could work in rhinos. And it gave the team something they hadn't had in years: certainty. With proof of concept in hand, the team turned its attention to the real mission: bringing a northern white rhino embryo to term. In 2024, BioRescue began transferring pure northern white embryos created from Fatu's eggs and the preserved sperm of Sudan and Suni into carefully selected southern white rhino surrogates. The first transfer happened in July, then again in December, and again in May of 2025. Each time the procedure was smooth, the surrogates were healthy, the embryos were strong, and each time the pregnancies failed. No heartbeat, no continuation, no calf. Still, there were signs of progress. After the December attempt, one surrogate developed uterine mucus, an early indicator of successful implantation. Genetic testing followed. The results were inconclusive, not confirmation, but not denial either. Scientists described it as biological ambiguity with promise. And in every case, the surrogate mothers remained healthy. No complications, no harm. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened with Fatu herself. After multiple egg retrieval procedures, her ovarian health actually improved. A phenomenon researchers now call ovarian cleansing therapy, where the repeated procedures may be rejuvenating her reproductive system in ways not fully understood. For the team, these developments weren't failures. They were data points. Each attempt revealed more about timing, hormones, embryo resilience. But the truth remains, Najin is aging. Fatu is 24, and the northern white rhino has never been closer to returning or disappearing forever. If a northern white rhino calf is born, it won't just need lungs to breathe or legs to stand. It will need a teacher. Because saving a species isn't just about DNA, it's about memory. Young rhinos learn from their mothers how to recognize danger, how to respond to calls, how to graze, wallow, and navigate the landscape. They learn when to be still, when to run, what it means to be a rhino, and that kind of learning only happens face to face. That's why timing matters so much. According to Professor Thomas Hildebrandt, the team's lead scientist, the goal is to birth a calf while Najin and Fatu are still alive, so the young one can imprint on them, absorb their instincts, and carry those behaviors into the future. Because if the calf is born too late, it could grow up alone. Technically alive, but socially empty. A blank slate with no context. That's why this is a race not just against extinction, but against time itself. Scientists and caretakers say Fatu still shows signs of social leadership, that she responds to cues, patrols her area, and interacts with her handlers with a quiet, deliberate awareness. She remembers what it means to be northern white, and right now she's the only one who does. Even if the biorescue team succeeds in creating a northern white rhino calf, it will only be the first step. 2 living females, frozen sperm from a few deceased males. That's not enough to rebuild a genetically diverse population, which is why the team is already looking further ahead, to technology that could redefine how we think about extinction. At research labs in Japan and Berlin, scientists are working on turning skin cells from long-dead northern white rhinos into stem cells, and then into functioning sperm and eggs. It's called induced pluripotent stem cell technology, and it's already been done in mice. The idea is to use preserved tissue samples from a wider range of individuals, animals who died years or even decades ago, to expand the gene pool. And with it, create entirely new embryos that are genetically different from the 38 already frozen. It's a radical concept, essentially using the past to seed the future. But it's not just theory. In 2022, biorescue scientists succeeded in producing early-stage egg cells from rhino skin samples. They're not viable yet, but they're getting closer. At the same time, ancient DNA from museum specimens is being sequenced and studied to help guide which genetic traits should be prioritized in future breeding. The long-term goal: a self-sustaining northern white rhino population, one day roaming free across the same landscapes their ancestors once called home. Not in captivity, but back in the wild. Not everyone agrees this mission should continue. Some ask, why spend millions trying to save a species with just 2 living individuals left? Wouldn't that money be better spent protecting animals that still have a chance? Elephants, pangolins, orangutans? But biorescue scientists don't see this as a choice between species. They see it as a matter of accountability. The northern white rhino didn't vanish because of natural selection. It didn't fail to adapt or evolve. It was destroyed by human greed, hunted for its horn, its body stripped for profit. As Jan Stayskal, project coordinator at Safari Park Devur Kralove, put it, it wasn't evolution, it was consumption, and if we caused it, we should fix it. That philosophy runs through every decision biorescue makes, every embryo transfer, every sedation, every lab test, all reviewed by an independent ethics committee based at the University of Padua in Italy, where animal welfare is treated not as an afterthought, but as a pillar. Because science, they believe, must be guided by more than ability. It must be guided by intent. And this intent is simple: to repair what was broken, to ensure that extinction, when preventable, is not simply accepted, and to show that just because we were responsible for their downfall doesn't mean we can't be part of their return. The science is working. The embryos are real, the technology is here, but none of it will matter without support. Since 2019, the German government has been the primary backer of the biorescue project, funding everything from field operations in Kenya to lab breakthroughs in Europe. But now that funding hangs in the balance. As of late 2025, there's no guarantee it will be renewed. And if the money stops, so does the mission. Embryo production, stem cell research, surrogacy trials. All of it paused, not because the science failed, but because commitment did. And it's not just the northern white rhino at stake. The tools developed here, IVF for megafauna, cross-species gestation, reproductive genetics, could be the future of conservation for dozens of endangered animals. But for now, they all depend on one fragile thread: whether the world is still willing to fight for what it nearly lost. Back in Kenya, under the wide African sky, Najin and Fatu still walk side by side. Their steps are slower now, their routines quieter, but they are still here, still watching, still waiting. Scientists are standing by with embryos, surrogates are ready, and in frozen tanks across Europe, the next generation of northern white rhinos lies silent, waiting to begin. This isn't just a rescue mission, it's a question. What does it mean to try, even when the odds are nearly gone? If this story moved you, if it made you think or feel something, let us know. We'd love to hear what you think about the fight to bring a species back. And if you want to see where this story goes next, you'll find it right here on our page.